Welcome to the Divine Soul Journey Evolved podcast, your space for all things awakening, healing, and consciousness shifting. I'm Stephanie Jameson, psychic medium, author, spiritual and heart-based business mentor, here to help guide you through the incredible, sometimes wild, yet always transformative journey of spiritual evolution. Together, we'll dive deep into thought-provoking conversations, perspective-shifting insights, heart-awakening moments, and reflect on conscious relationship growth. This podcast is designed to be a safe space for awakening and evolving souls, a place to inspire, motivate, encourage, and let's be real, at times may even trigger you into the next version of who it is that you're being invited to become. If you're feeling the call to step into your highest self and embrace the magic of some serious transformation, you're in the right place. Because soul growth and evolution is meant to be beautiful, empowering, and yes, despite how it may feel at times, even fun. So take a deep breath, set the intention to open your heart, and let's dive in. Hi, Raj. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, yeah, it's great to be here, Stephanie. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you today because we're going to be talking about something so important, something that I've gone through, I know you've gone through, and it's learning how to slow down in order to embody and really allow this new level up to occur in our life. And very, very challenging for so many of us on this journey because we're so programmed to go, 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 hustle, 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 and think instead of feel first and then act. And
Mm,
so I can't wait to dive into this conversation with you. We were already getting in some really cool stuff before I started recording. But
but
first and foremost, a little bit about you. I always ask everyone who comes on, was there a catalytic type moment, backstory that got you into breath work and somatic work and really kind of forced you to slow down? And I love that this is coming from a masculine perspective. I'm just going to go ahead and plant that seed now. It's great.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Stephanie, I can just tell from your energy and the perspective that you bring as well. I think this be a dynamic duo, dynamite conversation going on here, you know.
Mm.
So my story is pretty unconventional, but I because I love people so much, I really want them to kind of tap into their own potential. So it's not just, even though it's come through me, it's not just about me. This,
Mhm.
this is a human story that we all have, and we all just have to learn to make a decision if we wish to connect to our dream self, our ideal self, our child self that had a dream, that had a big vision, that wanted to do something amazing, but they lost touch with that, as they progressed, as life got in the way, society got in the way, people's disbelief got in the way, and then you lost touch with your dream, and then you get older and then you regret it later, you know? So I
Yeah.
think we all as kids have dreams, and I just, just start by saying, entertain, though, dare to dream again, dare to connect to those dreams because that's what you come here for.
Do you feel like that's something that you got moved through where, like many of us, myself included, which I'll share here in a little bit, but where you always kind of knew and then maybe lost an aspect of yourself and then you were forced to slow down? Do you mind sharing at least a part of that story with
Yeah.
us?
Of course, of
Okay.
course. I'll take you to a little bit of the ethos backstory to kind of contextualize everything to make it easy for people to understand the story. So
Yeah.
I'll start when I was 3 years old. My mother takes me to the library, to a nursery school where I join up in London, where I'm born, and then we end up in the library, and I take a couple of books off the shelf, right? And the first book was about dinosaurs, and the second book was about planets,
Mm.
right? And I can remember these images etched on my brain, in my mind, as if it was yesterday, right? And for whatever reason, these themes have stuck with me, regardless of my conventional schooling, regardless of anything. These images, these concepts have stuck with me throughout my entire life.
Interesting.
Yeah. So when it comes to, all kids have big ideas. They want to be an astronaut. They want to be a doctor. They want to save the world. They want to be a superhero. They want to look at dinosaurs and planets. I'm like just so in awe of everything, right? So that kind of, those themes, they never really left me. And whenever I was by myself, thinking at night, reading, writing, researching, these themes would just heavily impress themselves on my mind again and give me visions and give me ideas that you should pursue this. This is interesting. You really love this. Forget about the money. Forget about the career. This is what you love. This is what you're made of. This is what you're here to channel or do or something with this, right? So my whole thing with the dinosaurs was about evolution. How do animals evolve to higher and higher expressions of sentiency, to express their full potential, full power, full empathy, gentleness, sensitivity? How does that happen, like from one species to another, right? That was just so fascinating for me because we're all powered by the same energy. It's not separate energy. There's only one
Right.
energy. So
Yep.
how is this separate energy manifesting through these various species, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the planets thing was solar system, amazing. Okay, we've got all these planets in perfect alignment, doing the same rotational speed, perfectly calculated, without fail, every single day for billions of years. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how is this even happening? Right? You look
Yeah.
on Mars. If you go on YouTube and you have a look at, because there's got robots on Mars now, looking around, you can have a
Right.
look and see what Mars looks like. So you can see there's a red sky, there's red rock surface, but there's no water, there's no plants, there's no skeletal remains of anything. So then you say, well, why is there an empty planet here?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have empty planets? So this is kind of the ideas that were like in my mind when I was a kid.
Wow.
And yeah, and this is the kind of themes that have been following me. um I hope that helps
So
answer some of your questions.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. No, I think that's wonderful. I feel to sum this up, you had this wisdom with you when you were a child. You were just naturally drawn to things. And when we're kids, we can just flow. We're not running around in fight or flight survival mode trying to figure everything out. We're just in tune. And doing the type of work that I do, I have a lot of people who mention to me that they have, very intuitive kids, and, their kids say the most, darndest things. And I'm like, that's because that's a little old soul. They've been here before. They know what they're here to do, and, they just have an easier time tapping in and tuning in. So the fact that you're doing the type of work that you're doing now, it's just kind of come full circle. It's just
yeah,
making sense to you. And one of the mantras that I wrote in my little mantra book is my story is my purpose. And that's something that I feel like a lot of people, they start to figure out as they get older. They go, oh my gosh, when they do slow down and they're ready for that next level up, or their life is pivoting in some kind of a way, they go, I've known this since I was a kid.
yeah,
I've known this since I was a kid. They start to remember, and the slowing down, the breath work, the rituals, the meditation practice, all of it, it just reminds you. You go through this remembrance of who you are, not just as the person that you are, but the soul that you're, you are here. How do I want to say this? The soul that you are experiencing what you're here to experience. And I find the technique that I'm going to have you teach everyone here in just a moment just absolutely fascinating, because I know that during my initial awakening, when I started going through what you would call different consciousness shifts and Kundalini awakening and all of that, um, I used to laugh because when my team would come in, I am, as you know, a medium. So when my team would come in, my symbol would be they would show me nostrils when I was meditating or when I was reading people. And I thought, why do they keep showing me a nose? This was years ago, years ago. Obviously, much, longer later, I've discovered that my team was encouraging me to do breath work at the time, and they would show me when I was meditating or while I was reading people, they would show me a left or a right nostril, or they would show me both nostrils, and they would show me airflow. And I just
right,
didn't understand consciously at the time what I was seeing. And then, of course, this was 10, 15 years ago. And then I realized that I was like, I'm being guided to work on my breath.
Mm,
I'm not
mm,
breathing enough. I'm not slowing down enough. And so there I dove into deep, deep somatic practices, meditation, things that are just kind of, it seems like they're becoming more and more popular now, but my intuitive body just knew I needed that. And my guides, my team were showing me, hey, and that's when
mm.
I had a very similar experience. I remembered certain things and I went, I've always wanted to help people. I've been
Yeah,
saying this since I was 5. I just want to help people, but I didn't know how. And of course, all the chapters came into. So,
yeah.
I think that to sum this all up is that there's usually some kind of an aha moment or a catalytic moment that forces you to slow down, whether this is unfulfilling career, unfulfilling relationship,
Mm,
physical disease, stress, insomnia, whatever it is that your body wisdom is trying to teach you. And that's so important. I'm gonna have you throw some statistics at us here in just a little bit, but it's so important, the wisdom of the body. I do this really cool exercise called body focus with my clients that makes
mm,
them actually slow down and tune into what's going on within the body. And within 60 seconds, they're like, I didn't even know that part of my body was calling my attention. I didn't
mm.
even know that was hurting. I'm so used to the this. And we dive down a little bit deeper and they realize, oh my gosh, there's a message because the body keeps score, right? And your body's trying to tell you all the time, I need a break. I need you to
Right.
slow down. So, anyways, I
Yeah,
digress. There's some kind of catalyst there. Can you
yeah.
kind of go into, the power of breath work?
Mm.
Why, what does this do to the vagus nerve? Why is this so important for us to understand or so crucial for us to understand? What is this all about? Why do we need to know this and implement
It,
this?
it's deep,
Hmm.
Stephanie. It's
I
really
know.
deep. Yeah,
As,
it's
as much as you can cover in a short amount of time.
well, we could do it, but we're having amazing conversations with everyone now on all different, channels, podcasts, and so on. And I think that the social narrative that's beginning to come out, it's big, yes, it's huge, yes. The potential for human beings' growth and p- realization of that is huge. But our team and people like yourselves as well, we're bringing some fun and entertaining elements to it as well to make it more accessible, make it more digestible, more relatable. Because if you just study metaphysics in a silo, you think, oh my God, this concept is so huge, I can never relate to that, right?
Yes, yes.
That Jesus Christ, who we all admire, you know, the more we learn about Jesus and these great beings and great avatars. I met an avatar in India. I can tell you about that later. But um, when you learn about these beings, you think, oh, they're so great. They're the chosen ones. They have so much powers. They're so pure, and I could never relate to that. People feel like it's too high for me. It's religious. Oh, I have to be on my best behavior. I don't. It's hard for people to relate sometimes, and
100%.
you know. So we try to bring. We'll say, look, it's actually really entertaining. It's actually really fun when you can think about big things and just imagine how, when you pass out of this life, there is no death, actually. We just pass from one vibration to another. Life
You
is
don't have to tell
eternal.
me that. I
Yeah,
know
I
that.
know. I know you know that. But a lot of people don't. They worry. They fear about death, right?
Hmm.
So that
Hmm.
stops them from playing all out in life because they're scared
Right,
of
right.
failing or scared of what people might say or whatever. So when you start making it fun, that what life is all about, helping yourself, helping other people, and you help yourself by the same extension, right? We're all connected
Hmm.
in love. We're all connected in that wider purpose and paradigm that we all are programmed with by a higher intelligence. Thank God it wasn't me who invented humanity. Thank God, because I don't want to carry the burden of all this, you know? So I didn't
Hmm.
invent my brain. I'm humble enough to say my digestive system, my heart, my lungs, my brain, I didn't invent that. So relax, chill out. There's a higher power in control here. So chill, right?
Hmm.
So when you take that approach, you don't feel the burden, you don't feel heavy anymore. You can just let it go, be light, be joyful. So to back to your question, right, about how important is, the vagus nerve and the brain and all these things, they are tremendously important. But the fact is that they're powered by some invisible energy, which is all around us. We call it life force in English. We call it chi in Chinese. We call it prana in Sanskrit, from the Vedantic traditions of yoga. So the truth of the matter is, you think this space is just, you probably know deeper, but a lot of people think it's just oxygen or air, right? Or just, hydrogen and nitrogen and all that kind of stuff. But actually, there's three main components that are the most important thing for you to know. And that is light, electricity, and magnetism. This is what powers every sentient being on the planet, including you and me, all animals that have lungs, a brain, that breathe. It powers all of us. And yet it's invisible. What?
I
Right?
love this. I'm going to take a quick second here. People always ask me as a medium, they'll say, I don't understand how you can read me. I'm 1,000 miles away. Or how are you tapping into this? And I go, it's energy. We're all connected. We're all one. My satellite receiver is just clear. And that's how I describe it to people. My satellite receiver is just clear. And we can all do that. We can all clear that satellite receiver and tap into the energy that you're talking about. I always giggle when people go, oh, energy, it's a woo-woo. I'm like, we have Wi-Fi in our house, do we not? Can you see the Wi-Fi? No. But it's there.
Exactly. It's like radio, music is being broadcast all over the ether. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there, right?
Right.
So tap into it as you do. So to answer your question, we have to look now, instead of just thinking we are flesh and bone, which is sad, because flesh and bone at some point is going to decay and it's going to disappear. But the energy and the consciousness behind it, which are the causal forces that keep it moving in the first place, these cannot die. We're indestructible.
Yeah, we're energy. Science has proven this.
Yeah, exactly. So it can change form, it can vibrate at different levels, but energy itself cannot be destroyed. So with that, so with that premise, we now say, okay, the brain, the vagus nerve, the hormones in the brain, how do we harness this energy to optimize these functions and these abilities that we have? Right? So when we use the breathing methods, we activate endorphins in the brain, which are pain relieving hormones. We also activate dopamine and serotonin, which are feel good, happy hormones. We also activate something which a lot of people don't know about. It's called anandamide. Anandamide comes from the Sanskrit word bliss. Ananda means bliss. Right? So why would humans have a bliss molecule in their brain if they were not meant to be happy?
Boom. Boom. Preach.
There you go. Right? So that tells us that all human beings' default nature is to be joyful, is to be happy. Because when you're joyful and happy, all your cells, the atoms of your body, your brain, everything stays positive and healthy. But the moment you start entertaining negativity endlessly, doubt, worry, fear, anger, all these things that begin to show up in your body, and then you depress your energy system, and then you die prematurely in a lot of cases.
Interesting that you would say depress your energy system, which is something that we go through when we drop our vibration and we go through moments of depression. Something that I love about Jim Carrey is he talks about, depression is just your avatar saying, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of this garbage. I'm tired of the role that you're trying to force me into. You're not following your heart. You're listening to logic only.
Exactly.
And of course, don't quote me on that. He says it so much better than me, but beautiful that you said it like that.
Yeah. And you mentioned Avatar just now. I mean, I met an avatar. I don't know if I can bring that into the conversation. Is it
Uh,
okay?
yeah, as long as we've got time. And really quick, I do want to
Yeah.
say that's not to dismiss anybody's clinical diagnosis of depression. I just found the wordplay very interesting.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. And I agree with you. When I come across people who are depressed, we coach a lot of people. It pains me because I don't like to see people sad.
Yeah, and I think that at some point, I mean, if you've been on the awakening path, you've experienced depression. We
Yeah,
all have. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, so to sum that up, absolutely. I just feel like we could go off topic so much, you and I. This is so
yeah,
crucial for us to understand because this is how we begin to heal our vagus nerve and
yeah.
get us out of stress and fight or flight and chronic, all the things we may be experiencing. Very quickly on the avatar, because I know we are running short on time, so we can get into
Sure.
this 33 metaverse method that you've created.
Very cool. Yeah,
33,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I think when people understand the value when you meet guru is a word that's a Sanskrit word meaning from darkness to light, someone who leads you into the path of light. I went to India. I met a full-blown avatar, not a small one. I mean, a full one with full powers. Right? It's unbelievable to think that I don't even know how that happened, but it happened, and this avatar, just completely turned my life upside down because
Mhm.
I thought I knew something as an obnoxious 18-year-old coming from London, materialistic Western world, think I have everything. When I go to the avatar, I realize he's saying, son, you don't know anything. Like, you
You
need
know
to learn.
nothing. Yeah.
You know anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I thought about it and I was humbled and I said, okay, what is it? He said, your books and everything you learn from school, it's all contrived by the government. They don't want you to tap into your power. They don't, because they want you to stay subservient to the Rockefeller model, where you become a consumer and you're trapped into the cycle of debt and worry and fear. Then you have to rely on the medical system, then you have to rely on the government, then you have to rely on the banking system. They're not there to really, they're there to kind of trap you into their system so that you'll never be free. And by the time you reach 65, you can't get out the matrix, you're stuck and you'll be buried with those ideas.
Yes. Yes.
So, if you're willing to be humble and learn what's real, then avatars and gurus and yogis, they have genuine, selfless, unconditional love,
Yep.
right? That for me was like a massive turning point. I said, okay, what do I need to learn? You've got to be patient. You've got to learn. You've got to listen. You've got to cut all the rubbish out of your life. Yeah, the TV, the movies, the newspapers, all that stuff. You've got to dial it down. Forget about that. Forget it. It's not important. I'm like,
Right.
what?
Right. Right. And that's very hard when you come from one program and so heavily programmed, and then condense that with family programming and generational trauma and programming and all of that. I completely and totally understand. It's in your DNA. I actually just did an episode with somebody where we talked about that.
Mm,
And I love that you're mentioning all of this because I do teach people how to choose love over fear and maintain that vibration. A lot of times people feel or think that they're choosing love over fear when they're actually choosing fear-based patterns that keep them caught up in cyclical cycles. And I always like to compare it to like heaven or hell. We have this ability to embody and have a heavenly experience while we're here. Or if we keep ourselves caught up in these cyclical karmic patterns, we're creating hell on earth for ourselves. That's what I look at. And when it comes to heaven and hell, is it's a vibrational output. It's a vibrational sequence that's happening in our life. And, one of the things you mentioned earlier, you know, Jesus knew this. Jesus understood this. Jesus had this is the power of the open heart. It sounds like the guru busted you wide open and you started to understand that on a vibrational scale, you knew nothing. Your mind thought it knew all of this stuff, and you realized the wisdom of the heart. And the wisdom of the heart is unconditional love, maintaining your vibration. And then, if he was a true guru, which it sounds like this individual was, you were taught that you hold all the answers. Jesus was
yes,
just a man who understood his divinity. He
yes,
understood that there was no separation. And he tried to teach that.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's
And I
right.
feel like what you just said with the control and the powers that be on this planet, they don't want people knowing that. But guess what? There's a massive awakening happening on this planet, and they can't control that.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And for me, like the motivation of see when I see people suffering, I'm saying, look, it's so easy to fix that. It's not that hard, actually. What are you saying? What are you saying? Right? I said, with the right knowledge and the wisdom and the right coaching and empathy and real love, you can make miracles happen. Like, I'm
Yes.
seriously saying that, like you can.
Yes.
And when
Yes.
people like yourself and we create a community of people like-minded, like this, like light warriors, we can do so much on this earth and remove a lot of suffering and help people to understand how to use their minds, tap into the higher frequency, and stay there. You don't have to. Once you're in the blue sky zone, you don't have to come under the cloud. You can stay there. You don't have to
Right.
come.
And not only use their minds, but bridge the gap between their heart and their mind, their heart and their brain, because they have to work together. They're
Yeah,
meant to work together. You have a
right.
feminine energy and you have a masculine energy in you. Your feminine is your heart, your masculine is your brain, and it's so important. And it sounds like you do very, very similar work here to teach that brain to be the servant to the heart, the unconditional love portal.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we can definitely dive into the breathing method
Yeah,
because that.
let's definitely do that. I feel like, that's a whole nother conversation, and I'm
Mm.
so happy you brought that up. But okay, you taught me something that I absolutely love. I've been using it every day. I've actually shown it to a few people who I very much care about. And this is the 3-3 metaverse method and
Breathing method.
breathing method. Yes.
Yeah.
And what is it? I have a list of questions that we're going to go over here around it. What is it, and how does it transform people's lives?
Okay, so what it is, it's a very simple, easy, elegant, smooth, gentle breathing method that literally anyone can do. And we're training people as young as kids, as young as 5 to adults as old as 85. And it's having tremendous replicable results. It works every single time. And what it does, it, as alluded to earlier, it helps to release endorphins from the brain, which are pain relieving hormones. And it also helps to release dopamine and serotonin, which are feel good, happy hormones. Anandamide, the bliss molecule, is also activated when you do this method. So you feel euphoric. You feel high on your own supply, not that you have to go and get some substance from somewhere, marijuana or whatever people take, DMT. You don't need to do any of that. Activates the vagus nerve as well, as which you also talked about in terms of the parasympathetic nervous system. So you get out of freeze, fight, flight, out of the cortisol fear state and those hormones and adrenaline, get back into nourishing, rest, digest, healing from trauma, healing from injury, healing from wounds, sleeping deeply, and just not worrying
Hmm.
back into that flow state.
Mhm.
Yeah. And when we forget about that because we go too much in the material external world, we carry this stress with us for years, and it creates all kinds of imbalances in the body, and we get sick, and we think we have to take prescription medicines for years, which do not a lot for most people. Creates all kind of side effects, and you really don't need to do that.
Right,
Yeah. So
right.
when you do this method, it unlocks all 5 things at the same time.
It's amazing. And you were saying that there was a 60% reduction in things like stress, insomnia. It activates the vagus nerve, heals trauma, like you were saying,
Mm.
releases those bliss molecules. And I found it so interesting because when I did it, I immediately just felt calmer just after
Yes.
just a minute or two of just, I mean, breath work does that in general, but the way that it was beautiful. So, do you mind demonstrating it for
Of
us,
course.
especially for those who have a really hard time when they're spiraling or they're having a moment of fight or flight?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for, trying it out and then realizing how it's elegant, simple, and different, and that anyone, literally anyone can do it.
It
So,
really is simple, and that's what I love about it.
yeah, if you give people the complex methods, the problem is they'll do it when you're there coaching them on the phone or in person. But then the minute the next day they're in a situation, they forget to do it because They forgot the count. It was too difficult. It's not part of their lifestyle. So everything kind of goes back to square one again. So, yeah. So we'll do this method for now. We'll talk you through it just like we did last time.
Okay.
You ready?
Sure, I can definitely do it, but I think the camera's going to flip back to you. Just a heads up, because I'm not going to be the one talking.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
okay, let's go ahead and do it.
Okay, perfect. Stephanie, what you do is you block one nostril first and breathe in and out a few times. Yep, perfect. And then switch over to the other side. And get a sense of the flow. Is it equal, would you say? Or would you say one's a bit more open than the other?
I don't feel like this is fair because I just did this before our interview just to get into a nice blissed space. So I actually feel like I'm a bit balanced today.
Yeah,
But when
okay.
we did it that day, I remember one side being blocked more than the other.
Right. Okay. Okay. I mean, most humans, some people know about this, many don't. Even a lot of doctors don't. Within 45 to 60 minutes, normally, the nostril flow switches in most humans from left to
Okay.
right to left. Yeah. And that alters your mood, alters your brain chemistry, so many things that happen.
Makes sense. Yep.
So I'm going to ask you now, Stephanie, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is terrible and 10 is amazing, how do you feel right now? Where would you put yourself on that scale?
I'm feeling a bit tired. It's been a
Mm,
hectic day. I've been doing a lot of coaching and
mm.
training. I'm going to say a 6 to 7.
6 to 7, okay.
Mhm.
Maybe a 6.5 or something around there. Okay. And as you know, this method is gentle, 3 times in through the nose and then 3 times out of the mouth with an elongated exhalation on the third exhale. So it's like this. I might have to use some sound because of the noise cancellation, but I'll make it audible as well. So sniff, 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 then ha, 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 or
Mhm.
so sniff, 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 and then ha, 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 but without the vocal cords.
Right.
All right. So again, sniff, 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 and then ha, 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 with an elongated exhalation on the third exhale. Yeah, you got it.
Mhm.
You got it.
It
All right.
it's immediate. It's immediate. It's that last elongated that you just
Um,
go, oh, and you don't realize how much you're carrying.
yes, yes,
Hmm.
exactly, exactly. Amazing. So we'll do it for a minute together.
Okay.
All right. The eyes closed, and then we'll talk through how you're feeling after. Okay. So 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay. Stop there, Stephanie. Just relax. Keep your eyes closed. And just relax. just gently notice and observe what's happening within. Just relax. When you're ready, Stephanie, whilst keeping your eyes closed, tell me what you notice and how you feel.
So immediately I feel like I want to take a nap.
Mhm.
I feel very calm.
Mhm.
I feel like the biggest thing I'm noticing is a sense of presence.
Mhm.
So I feel like I'm very grounded into this moment. And being a clairvoyant, I'm seeing lots of things. That always happens whenever I close my eyes. Uh, but most of all, I feel very much like I'm not future tripping and I'm not
Mhm.
worried about what's happened in the past. I feel very
Mm.
present.
Yeah,
Mhm.
excellent. Did you feel any sensations in the brain, like either behind the eyes or forehead or top of the head or anything like that?
Last time we did this, I felt tingling. This time, not so much.
Okay, absolutely fine. And did you notice your heart rate slow down a bit?
Hmm.
Yeah. And the sort of mental chatter that most of us have when we're busy, mental chatter monkey mind, did that decrease a bit?
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Did it decrease quite a bit, would you say, or just a little bit?
Yeah, I'd say about half.
Oh, okay.
A little bit.
So,
We're in the middle of an interview, so I had a lot going on.
yeah, totally understand that. Totally understand. But you feel pleasant overall, would you say?
Hmm. I feel like
Yeah.
I want to go take a nap. I'm very relaxed. Like I want to go lay in a hammock. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And do you feel sort of expanse of mind beyond the body, like an expansion of awareness? Or yeah, I think you mentioned
Of
presence earlier.
course.
Yeah, you
Of
do.
course.
Okay.
Yes. Hmm.
And you said you had quite a busy or stressful day, and you felt like a 6 or 6.5, 7 out of 10. What would you feel now?
I would definitely say right around eight, 8.5.
Really?
I just feel really good. Yes.
And overall, are you surprised at how quickly this works? I know you've done it before, but just overall, last few days, are you surprised, like compared to other things you might have tried?
Over the last few days,
Mm.
yes, it's very lovely. Am
Mhm.
I surprised by it? No, because it's breath work
Yes.
and it forces you to slow down and really lean into your body. And I feel like when you're in this type of a state, it helps you realize even more so that you're not this meat suit because you're here and you're
Yeah.
here. So um, I'm not surprised, no.
Yeah.
I
And do you
I
feel
feel
like,
like the version of me, 15 years ago would be way more surprised. Somebody who's
yeah,
just kind of starting out, absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like you're in flow state?
Hmm.
Yeah. So you just did it for 1 minute, you know.
I know.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah. What do you think would happen if you did it for, say, 5 minutes continuously?
Oh, I know. I
Yeah.
agree. This
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
this is why I'm so addicted to meditating.
Yeah.
Is 30 minutes, 60 minutes of meditation gives me the same feeling, but it's so interesting that it happens so slow or so fast
Mm.
with you. It doesn't.
Yeah.
There's not this long buildup.
Yeah.
Hmm. So it's a
Exactly.
beautiful modality. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. You can open your eyes now.
Lovely, lovely. Like I said, I just feel like I want to take a nap. One thing that I feel like I want to mention, if I can open my eyes here, woof.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
you mentioned that this helps people with insomnia, and I feel like that's so important because people who struggle with insomnia, even if it's a short while or if it's been going on for a long time, like I said, I feel like I want to take a nap, and I think that that's so important to mention. And then for people who are awakening, that just seems to be a part of the path is that, you're wide awake at 3 o'clock in the morning your melatonin levels are all off because your third eye is opening and you can't seem to sleep, but then you're, wanting to sleep at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I feel like this would really be worth mentioning to people who are struggling with that this is a
Yes,
beautiful modality. So I just wanted to say that really quickly.
absolutely. And you're right, because a lot of people we've trained have, all kinds of challenges they're going through, whether it's relationships, their work, looking to make a change or transition. Maybe they're struggling with a serious disease. And we do get a lot of people with that. And
Mhm,
when they found it difficult to sleep, they do this method and they fall asleep within 30 to 90 seconds.
mhm,
And they just slip into a deep sleep, and they sleep for 6 hours continuously, and they wake up and they say, what happened to me?
mhm.
Right? Because
I
they'd
find
never
it in
Mhm.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, they'd never activated all those five things that we talked about: the endorphin, serotonin, dopamine, anandamide, and the vagus nerve all at the same time. They've never done that before. So
Right. And that's something that I find so powerful about this exercise. And I find it so interesting that it's releasing this bliss hormone that we're all connected to. And then they drift away. And I always say that when you're sleeping, you get to go home for a little while. This is the matrix. This is the dream. Right. And so it's just so much more effortless for them to connect and to really tune into that
yeah.
essence. That's pretty beautiful. We are definitely out of time, so I wanted to just ask you, is there any other final thoughts, words of advice, or how can we find you? Do you have any free gifts? Of course, I'll include that in the show notes, but any
Yeah.
other quick little piece of advice here for anyone?
Absolutely. So I think, the most important thing is to understand there's a lot more to life than meets the eye. There's a lot to explore. There's a lot more around you than you think that's actually living. So if you can connect to the breath, which will help you to unfold your own dimensions of consciousness and life, I think you'll be delighted. No one ever goes, once they find these new things about themselves, it's like a discovery, like Indiana Jones doing his archaeological dig, but you do that within yourself with this amazing energy that we have in Mother Nature. So definitely tap into that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thank you again. We'll have to have you back again someday. And I just appreciate you being here with us.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us on Divine Soul Journey Evolved. I'm truly grateful to share this space with you. If you'd like to dive deeper, please visit divinesouljourney.net to check out private readings, courses, mastermind workshops, and so much more. Also, just a reminder to check out the links below for any free gifts mentioned during this program that are available to you as you grow through your next level up. Until next time, keep honoring the illogical magic unfolding before you. Trust in your perfectly designed evolution, and remember that you are being divinely guided always.